Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark, aka Derringer. Today is Sunday, August 6th, and you are listening to episode 116 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So first off, this week, I want to thank everybody for the extra love I got for episode 115. Seemed like a lot of you guys, new people, checked out the show and stuff like that, since it was a goodbye episode to Tony Jones, who unfortunately left Daybreak Games a few weeks ago, and we just sort of learned the news last week. So again, it was a sad show, but I'm appreciative for all the new people who checked out my show last week. So for all you new people here's just a quick reminder. Again, the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. That's how I keep this ship afloat, keeping it cost neutral for me. The biggest one is using my Amazon link. If you just go click on that link and do your shopping as normal, a small percentage of whatever you purchase is sent directly over to me on a monthly basis, of course. And the more people that use it, the more of a percentage that Amazon actually gives to me. So again, this is a way for you to donate to my show without spending any extra money. It's money you are most likely going to spend on Amazon anyways, much like me. Like I've said in the past, I have one of the links for one of the other podcasts that I listen to on my desktop, and anytime I do any shopping through Amazon, I use that link so I can give a little taste back to that show that I love to listen to. So again, head over to the instantactionpodcast.com and check out that Support the Show tab, bookmark that link, add it to your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever's computer, parent. Like I said, I know I have it set up on my mom's computer at home, so every time that she goes and purchases stuff, I get a little taste back of that as well. So again, just a way for you to help support the show without spending any money out of pocket. So speaking of the show, what is actually in store for this week's show? Well, first I'm going to do that promised rant about Planetside 2 on PS4 that I hinted at last week. Then I'm going to follow it up with some talk about PC performance issues, some new Indar Sky talk, some winning without killing anyone talk, and finally some new listener email. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. All right, let's start off this week with Planetside 2 on the PS4. Like I said last week, I have been playing a bit more on the PS4 than I was in the past. I've had a couple people reach out to me on Reddit, some people on Twitter, things like that, to come play with them. I'm playing Vanu right now on the PS4. I will definitely join some of your open squads. I know Void have asked me to join them at times, and I know the Vault squad has asked me to join them as well. When I get a chance to log in and see you guys running open squads, don't worry, I will drop in. You'll know it's me. My character's name is Derringer VS. So watch for me in the future playing with some of you other guys. Any other Vanu outfits out there, feel free to let me know. I'll happily play with any and all of you. I much prefer running in a dedicated outfit squad rather than just the random squad that you're always dropped into whenever you launch Planetside 2 on the PS4. Yeah, that's something, if you're a PC player, it doesn't happen to us on the PC side where we can lone wolf all we want, whereas on the PS4 side, you're actually dropped into a squad when you log in, so you already have some sort of idea what you're going up against. But there's the downside of that, is that you could have some absolute stupid idiot squad leader who has no idea what they're doing in game, leading you around, which is kind of a detractor. So again, I've been playing a bit more on the PS4. In fact, last week's YouTube video was all PS4 gameplay. Some of it wretchedly atrocious. Some of it not too bad, where I went on some decent kill streaks. The Orion is just as good on the PS4 as it is on the PC, and I absolutely am decimating people with it. One thing I do wish was that some of the things that I unlocked on the PC side carried over to PS4 side, because I'm not going to lie, I'm a little loath to spend extra money on the PS4 side when I've spent so much now on the PC side of the game. Even just to get membership, I can't see myself paying double membership to keep accounts on both sides. But maybe down the road, that could be something that I do. But I'm not 100% sure at this point. Now, I will keep coming back to the PC side of Planetside 2, and like I said, I was going to talk about some of the reasons why. And first off, before I even dive into that sort of stuff, I don't think that Planetside 2 is a bad game on the PS4. But when inherently you get poor frame rates at large fights and things like that, I'm definitely going to move more towards the PC side of the game, and I'll spend more time on the PC side. And of course, I have all my Daybreak cash spent on the PC side of the game as well. So I am a little biased towards PC side of Planetside 2 as we even get into this. But some of the issues with the biggest issue that I have, besides the abysmal frame rate in large fights, is that the PS4 side of the game is definitely too dark at too many times. And I can't find any sort of slider to change the darkness. I think that if they were to do something as simple as get rid of the day-night cycle within Planetside 2, that on the PS4 itself, that it would be a much better playing game for all people. Like I said, there are times when it's just so dark that I can't see anything that's going on with the game itself. Now, if I was playing on the PC side, I'd just adjust some of the sliders or drop everything down to true potato mode so that I'm not affected so much by the night like I am on the PS4. But I'm not going to lie, that's one of the main reasons I don't want to actually play on the PS4. Again, that's second to performance issues, which I'll go into next. But I really think that if they took care of that day-night cycle, that it would be a lot more enjoyable for all people on the PS4. If you watched my YouTube video, you saw that there was night fighting, and it was just awful. And so much so that for night fighting, I've purchased the IR scope for all my guns that I'm using, because it's almost impossible to see at times. And then I have to remember to have multiple loadouts, a daytime loadout and a nighttime loadout, just to make the game more playable. Next, like I said, the performance issues. I've read and seen multiple people say that if you purchase a PS4 Pro, which I do not have a PS4 Pro, I just have the regular PS4, which every other game I plays spectacularly. Yet, when I try to play Planetside 2, if I get into anything bigger than a 12 to 24 fight, the frame rates are absolutely atrocious within the game itself. So much so that people are just appearing out of nowhere, trying to move with the controller. It's very jagged movements, things like that. Whereas I hear people who say they've got the PS4 Pro are getting a much smoother game overall, without the jagginess of the movement, without people just kind of appearing out of nowhere in these larger fights. With Planetside 2, I am always looking on the PC side for those 96 plus fights, because I think that's where the huge chaos of battle is the most fun. And I think because the PS4 has those issues where I think the majority of the people playing the game don't have a Pro and are just using the regular PS4, it's definitely a detractor on the game itself. And I think that means it's time for another optimization pass on the PS4 itself. The third thing I want to talk about regarding the PS4, and this could be seen one way as a pro, another way as a con, and I'll say a con first, is if you're a long-time player on the PS4, there's no construction system. And I know a lot of people want the construction system on the PS4. Coming from the PC and being a player that does not like or play construction at all, in fact, I logged in last night to play a bit, and my outfit doesn't normally play Saturday or Sundays, so I usually join just random squads, and I joined one of the random squads I normally join, and they were all doing construction stuff, and I couldn't click the disband or get out of squad fast enough, or get out of platoon fast enough so I wouldn't have to do construction with them. So I see this as a pro on the PS4, and I kind of hope it never actually comes to the PS4. Having no construction there is a boon, and is probably something that will make me come and play on the PS4 more because there isn't construction. And one of the topics I'm going to talk about later on in the show has to do with construction and winning Planetside 2 on the PC. It's not something that we have to deal with on the PS4 side of the game at all. Now, I've been talking a lot of detractors towards playing Planetside 2 on the PS4. So I don't want people to think that I hate playing on the PS4, but I definitely see it as a secondary market to playing on the PC. Now, granted, on the PC, I'm playing with an i7. My graphics card may not be the best, but certainly much better than the minimum specs and much better than whatever is in the PS4. So I'm certainly getting much better gameplay on the PC, and that's why I will probably, move towards the PC a lot more than the PS4. Does that mean I don't have fun when I'm playing on the PS4? No, I'm definitely having fun when I play on the PS4, and I certainly have a lot more fun when I'm playing inside an outfit-based squad, so I will definitely be doing that a lot more than I have been in the past. So, again, those are just some of the things that I see wrong with Planetside 2 on the PS4, and some of them I think might not be difficult fixes, like getting rid of a day-night cycle in the game couldn't be too bad. Yes, a performance pass on the PS4 is probably a lot more to ask for, but if you're going to continue to have the majority of your players using regular PlayStation 4s and not a Pro, maybe that's something that the devs want to think about doing on the PS4, not that I know that they even have the manpower to do it. And again, construction, I think keeping construction away from the PlayStation 4 as long as humanly possible is probably better in the long run for the game itself, because you're not dealing with even more frame rate issues or people playing on something that they don't want to play on. Like, I've used myself as an example. I do not like construction on the PC side of the game and kind of wish it was removed from the game itself. I have no desire to play it, even though I know a lot of people do play it. Now, looking at everything overarching, is Planetside 2 on the PS4 a success at this point? I don't know that it's necessarily a huge success in the eyes of Daybreak Games, but it's enough of a success that they're going to keep supporting it. And if anybody's wondering, is there enough population on the PS4 side of the game to continue playing? I think the answer is yes. During peak times, there are definitely enough players equal to, some of the servers on the PC side itself. So I think playing on the PS4, if you own a PS4 and have never played, I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not playing Planetside 2 on the PS4. And maybe we'll see some fixes or some updates to it in the future. I do also think that it's Daybreak Games is doing Planetside 2 players on the PS4 a disservice by not keeping it to the same date as PC updates, but that's something I've railed about in the past and don't think I really need to go into at this point, since I've spent quite a while on this topic today. But again, since I've been playing a lot more on the PS4, I wanted to give my current thoughts about some of its detractions, and maybe ways that it could be fixed going forward. I'd be curious to hear from some of you PS4 veterans out there if there's anything that I missed or anything else that you'd like me to go over. But with that, let's move on to our next topic on this week's show. All right, topic number 2 this week is regarding performance issues on the PC side since the last patch. And it's something that I've been experiencing as well, not just other people, even though I didn't make the post on Reddit about it. But I'm definitely seeing some hit registration issues where I know I've unloaded a clip into somebody. I'm not seeing hit markers. I'm definitely seeing some issues. Now I'm not really seeing the FPS drops that other people are seeing, but really for me it's hit reg more than anything else. And if hit registration in your game is poor, everybody is going to have a poor experience with the game itself. So I'm hoping that we're going to see some sort of changes in the next patch that we get from Daybreak Games, and we definitely got some information from one of the newer members of the Planetside 2 team. And this is a new name that we hadn't seen too much of. Now we're getting information from someone named Roxley. So let me be one of the first people, Roxley, to welcome you to the Planetside 2 Reddit community. We are a salty bunch of assholes, but we can be nice at times as well. And Roxley did write that they have got a number of reports about game performance and FPS drops over the last couple of days, and they are actively looking into them. They have found one source of the issues responsible that's causing some of the frame rate drops, and they will have a fix ready to be deployed in the next patch. Unfortunately, we have no information on when that next patch could be. Hopefully it'll be sometime this week. I'd really like to see a patch come out to fix some of the hit reg issues that I've been having, because it will make me play a little bit more. But the other information is, yes, Roxley is a new person. It seems like she might be posting a little bit more now that Tony Jones Radar X is gone from Daybreak Games. She says that she did quietly show up a few days ago, but we'll be seeing her around a little bit more. She has been with Daybreak for a little over a year, involved with mostly other projects. But she is new to the community team and Planetside 2 in general. And she does also indicate that even though Meps has been doing this a lot more than she has, that she's going to be taking over some other various roles as the new community coordinator, and she'll be doing some internal support for the game as well for us. Now, I mentioned the name Meps. If no one's familiar with him, he was doing a lot more stuff as a community manager on DCUO. Meps' real name is Ted Stone. I met Meps at both SOE Lives, I believe, when I was hanging out with Trex and some of the other people who podcast for DCUO. I met Meps briefly. I'm sure he does not even remember meeting me, but I definitely did meet him. Nice guy. And prior to working for SOE and Daybreak Games, he went to college at Butler, worked for JP Morgan Chase for a while. He was a writing teacher in Arizona, and now he's with Daybreak Games itself. So who is Roxley, in case anybody's curious? Her real name is Roxanne Sabo. She was previously the marketing and communications intern with Daybreak Games for the past year or so. And prior to that, she attended UC San Diego, and she looks like she is a fresh college graduate. So congratulations it's been over a year, so I guess congratulations are out of we're past the time for congratulations on that. But so it looks like we're going to have 2 new people dealing with us on Reddit and also on the official forums regarding the community. So again, Meps and Roxley, welcome both to the Planetside 2 side of things. Like I said, we can definitely be real salty assholes at times, but we're also nice at other times. So again, I know I kind of went off tangent talking about the 2 new folks that will be interacting with us, but I thought that it was also important But again, back to the main issue. Hopefully these performance issues that we're all experiencing, or some of us are experiencing, should be fixed with the next patch. So third topic this week is about the new Indar Sky. So in case you guys missed it, Rel posted on Twitter a nice little picture of a very red, very cloudy, very interesting new sky for Indar. And when he tweeted, he said, "Weird weather today." And I'm going to use the photo of the sky as the cover image for this week's show. So in case you guys are curious, you can certainly take a look at it. And like I said, it's a very reddish sky. It fits Indar very well. Indar's very sandy and desolate for the majority of it. I know it's not all that way, but I think a red sky really does fit Indar, and it'll be a good change to the way Indar is right now. Many people were wondering if this is weather or dynamic weather finally coming to Planetside 2, and then of course the inevitable "this is going to kill FPS" discussion was prompted on Reddit, and Rel was quick to respond saying that no, this is not weather, it is just a skybox, and it is going to have no impact on performance whatsoever, which made all of us breathe a sigh of relief, because I'm not going to lie, with the most recent FPS issues and hit reg issues that I've been having in game, I was really worried that dynamic weather coming to Planetside 2 was going to absolutely screw over my decent FPS now and make me have awful FPS. So again, I'm going to include a link to the post in this week's show notes if you're curious what the future weather on Indar, or the future sky on Indar, could look like. Go ahead and check it out. I like it, and I'm happy to see something like this come to the game, especially after we got the improved skybox on Hassan recently. So definitely I'm all for having some different skyboxes within the game itself for the different continents. And with that, let's move on to our fourth and final topic this week. So the last thing I wanted to talk about this week was an interesting Reddit post that Isolator posted to Reddit. That's kind of redundant, but you know what I mean. He posted about how you don't have to shoot people in Planetside 2 right now to actually win or to lock a continent, and also provided a pretty interesting picture of the current state of Hassan in this particular case, and how Vanu are doing on the continent of Hassan. And so to start out with, he shows that you only need 20 victory points to lock Hassan. And that's all continents at this point, except Indar, I believe. But again, just looking at Hassan in the image that he put out, you only need 20 victory points to lock Hassan at this point. And in the image that he showed, the different permanent victory point conditions, and those include capturing all the biolabs, capturing all the tech plants, capturing all the amp stations, capturing all the major facilities, linking to the northwest or the south warp gate, or linking to both enemy warp gates. Obviously, those are going to include a decent amount of fighting, because you're going to have to be, attacking all those different areas. And in this particular case, the Vanu own none of those different things, and those award all different kinds of victory points depending on which one it is. But then when you go a little further down, the next thing is controlling 7 active hives, and the Vanu control 7 active hives in this particular one. And as a result, they've gotten 3 victory points for that. They also are getting the bonus for the empire that has the most active hives, and they're getting another 2 victory points for that. So right now we're at 5 of 20 victory points. They also generated some victory points from VP generators. And at this point, they had generated 6 victory points from generators. They had also been refining cordium from active hives. They hadn't earned that one yet. But they're working their way towards an extra victory point as there. So, like I said, they generated 6 victory points. So 6 plus 5, you're at 11 of 20 victory points. So you're already halfway, more than halfway to the 20 victory points to lock Hassan. And obviously they could continue to generate victory points from hives and lock the continent altogether. Now, they also own 30% of the territory on the continent, and that's most likely, what you've gotten when you unlocking a fresh continent. So because they own 30% of the territory, they earned another 5 victory points. So right there, that puts us at 16 out of 20 victory points without fighting over any base whatsoever. And like I said, it's very possible that if everything stays pat and the people working the different hives and just generate victory points, they could generate those final 4 victory points without doing any fighting whatsoever and lock Hassan. And I don't think many people have been talking about this, and maybe Isolator's one of the first people to point this out to everybody, but it definitely got the attention of the developers, and Rel was quick to say that, quote-unquote, that is changing, meaning that most likely in the future, we're not going to be able to lock a continent just by generating victory points from construction itself. And honestly, something like that definitely will ruin good fights if we allow people to continue to be able to lock a continent just by making victory points through construction itself. Now, I know construction is designed to be a bolt-on accessory to Planetside 2, and not the only way to lock continents. So I'm glad to hear that potentially something like that could be changing in the future. Maybe that's just, people saying that it could be done, the devs saying that they're going to fix it and they don't really have an answer to fix it. Of course, that possibly could be, what's going on with the game itself. Who knows? Rel's response was very generic, didn't give any real information other than that they're going to change it. Now, also within this post itself, Shadow Insignius, which has sent me stuff on the show in the past, and he suggested one way to fix this would be to, change the 7 hives victory point bonus, which is now permanent. Basically, you just make 7 hives and you get this. He would much rather see it something that comes and goes. So if you have 7 hives and then you're down to 6 hives, that you lose this particular bonus. And I think that's probably the best way to make a change like this, because then you're not always getting that +3 victory points, because that's just, once you make the 7, you're locked into that. You don't ever lose that victory point bonus. So again, I think Shadow Insignius' idea for this is probably the best idea at this point. And maybe this is something the devs are already considering based on Rel's response. So again, I thought this was a pretty interesting, I never really thought of it this way, that you don't even need to fight for the most part. You can just sit back and generate victory points from construction and lock continents. And it's nice to see Isolator put a nice graphic out with everything circled and highlighted, so an idiot like me can even see that, you don't even need to fight to lock continents at this juncture within the game on the PC side. Again, if you're on the PS4 side, you don't have to worry about this stuff because you guys don't have construction to deal with. And I like it that way. In fact, as soon as I finish recording the show, I'm going to hop on PS4 and play a little bit tonight, so I don't have to deal with construction based on reading this post from Isolator. So everybody on PC, you can thank Isolator for driving me to the PlayStation 4 in particular tonight. So with that, let's move on to housekeeping so I can get on to the PS4.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
So I did get 2 emails this week, so I do have some stuff to talk about on housekeeping. So the first email I got was from Natch, and Natch writes, "Hi Derringer, I'm a experienced player on Briggs and have noticed a decline over the years. What is your opinion on the state and future of Briggs and other servers which have started to decline in population in peak times?" And then he also writes, "P.S. Great fan." First off, Natch, thank you for the email. Next, and you probably don't want me to say this, but I think Briggs is doomed. I'm just going to say it like I think it is. Briggs has seen a notable decline in player base as it's gone on, and I think people on Briggs were probably happy when the continents being locked, not opening new continents based on the number of players was reduced in a recent patch. But I'm not going to lie, Briggs has seen such a decline over the years that I can't see Briggs maintaining its state as a independent server for that much longer. I give it a year before you guys are merged into a different server, whether it's Miller or Cobalt. I don't think any of those are good options for players on Briggs, but I think that the population is going to continue to decline on Briggs itself. And again, I don't think that's the answer that you want to hear. But I'm a realist, not an optimist, not a pessimist. I'm a realist, I think. I don't think Briggs is much longer for this game. And I mean, with the original Planetside, everything merged down to 2 servers and then everything merged down to 1 server in the end. I think that's just the natural progression of Planetside 2 ultimately. So it's going to happen to all of us at some point or other. You know, we're going to end up with 1 US server, 1 European server at some point in the future. Could it be 2-3 years down the road? Could it be 5 years down the road? Sure. Do I think it's earlier for Briggs? Yeah, I'm sorry. But I do appreciate you being a fan. With that, let's move on to second email. And that was from Pipeline Audio. If you guys remember, Pipeline Audio was the one who was sending me all those great Pink Fairies Sunderer tricks that they were doing. And his comment was regarding the new ant exteriors. And he writes, the new ant exteriors look awesome, but they cover up the Araxium trim. Nobody will know that you spent 4 zillion years mining cordium. Frowny face. I have a feeling that they will know that it's covering that the Araxium trim is being covered, because I know that's not their intent with all these different the different exteriors. Expect something like that to be fixed in a future patch, so you can continue mining your cordium for a zillion years. Pipeline Audio, don't worry about it. So, but again, thank you both for emails this week. But that is going to be it for this week's show. So how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? As always, you can go on my website, leave comments there, www.instantactionpodcast.com. You can send me an email like Natch and Pipeline Audio did. The email is instantactionshow@gmail.com. As always, I love reading and responding to emails on the show. You can also call me and leave me a voicemail. That number's 347-4VM-4PS2 or 347-486-4772. You can always catch me on Twitter as well at InstActPodcast or at my personal Twitter at The Derringer. Well, in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.